I'm the guy who jumped from space. I wanted to be the first human outside of an aircraft breaking the sound barrier. It was a goal that had never been achieved before, and I knew it would take every ounce of preparation, discipline, and courage to make it happen. The challenge wasn't just about stepping out of the capsule and free-falling, it was about surviving the extreme conditions of space, handling the uncontrollable forces of the descent, and ensuring that every piece of equipment functioned perfectly. On the day of the jump, I weighed twice my normal weight due to the pressurized suit and all the gear strapped to my body. Moving was difficult, and performing a perfect exit from the capsule was even harder. I knew that if I didn't exit the right way, I could start spinning uncontrollably. Unlike skydiving at normal altitudes, there was no air resistance in the upper atmosphere to help me stabilize. If I started over-rotating, there would be no way to slow myself down using conventional techniques. As I stepped out of the capsule, I took one last deep breath and let go. For the first 25 seconds, everything seemed to be under control. The earth below me was a vast expanse, and the thin upper atmosphere made the sky appear completely black. I was alone in the void, accelerating rapidly toward the ground. Then, after 34 seconds, I hit Mach 1, officially breaking the speed of sound. At that moment, something incredible happened. I became the first human to go supersonic without an aircraft. The shockwave from breaking the sound barrier wasn't something I could hear, but I felt the immense speed as my body shot downward. The world was watching, and this was the moment everyone had been waiting for. But what happened next was something I had feared the most. Before the jump, scientists had debated what would happen when a human body reached such speeds. Some believed I would spin uncontrollably, while others thought nothing unusual would occur. I had mentally prepared for the possibility of spinning, but I was hoping to avoid it. However, as I continued my descent, I slowly started to rotate. Then, the spinning got faster. The problem was, there was no protocol for this situation. There was no manual telling me, "Felix, if this happens, do this." I was alone, with no one to guide me. As the world watched, I had to figure it out in real time. At first, I tried moving my arms in an attempt to counteract the spin. For a brief moment, it seemed to slow down, but then, it started spinning in the opposite direction this time, even faster. At that moment, it was no longer about breaking records, it was about survival. I was traveling at 600 miles per hour, and the G-forces were building up. The blood in my body was being pushed away from my brain, toward my extremities. If the pressure became too much, the blood would be forced out through my eyeballs, and I would lose consciousness. If that happened, I would die. Fortunately, I had a safety device called a G-whiz attached to my hand. The G-whiz was designed to detect extreme spinning and automatically deploy a drogue chute to stabilize me, but it wasn't a perfect system. I had to put my hands in the correct position to trigger it. I focused all my energy on controlling my movements. Finally, the G-whiz detected a decrease in G-force, indicating that I was regaining control. It didn't need to deploy the chute. I managed to stabilize myself and regain full control of my descent. That was the moment I knew I was going to make it. As I continued falling, I noticed my suit starting to flap. The lower I got, the denser the atmosphere became, and I could feel the resistance building. That was a good sign. It meant I was getting closer to the altitude where I could deploy my parachute. Then, I looked at the sky. It had changed. When I first stepped out of the capsule, the sky was completely black. There was no atmosphere to scatter light. But now, as I fell back toward Earth, the sky had turned blue again. I was returning home. On the right corner of my vision, I saw Luke dropping flares. The flares were a visual reference to help me orient myself and guide my descent properly. They provided a crucial sense of direction, ensuring that I remained on course for a safe landing. This was a critical moment. After spending hours inside that pressurized spacesuit, I was finally breathing regular air again. The relief was immense. Every breath felt fresh and invigorating. Then came the final part of the journey, deploying my parachute and landing safely. As I pulled the chute, I felt a familiar jolt as it deployed successfully. The rapid descent slowed, and I was able to take in the view as I gently floated toward the ground. I was overwhelmed with emotion, knowing that the most dangerous part of the mission was over. As I approached the ground, I braced myself for landing. The touchdown was smooth. Everything had gone perfectly. The mission had been a success. I had achieved what many thought was impossible. Looking back, this was not just a personal achievement, it was a moment that pushed the boundaries of human potential. It was about testing the limits of physics, human endurance, and technology. So, when people ask me why I did it, the answer is simple. I did it to challenge what we know about the world and ourselves. I did it to inspire others to reach for the impossible, and most importantly, I did it because I believed it could be done.